It struck early this morning in the San Fernando Valley in Northridge, which is about 10 miles northwest of where I'm standing, and it did major damage throughout the
consumed instantly when this gas main exploded, sending flames 100 feet into the air. The blast ruptured this water main, but dozens of others were shaken loose by the quake, sending torrents of water into valley streets.
Gas lines are ripped from the ground and ignite.
I really had the sensation that
the entire region has been plunged into complete blackness.
They have electricity, they don't have water, and
dead inside the rubble of the hillside home were two people, one of them this woman's daughter.
The clip you just saw was part of the Northridge earthquake of 1994 that hit downtown LA. It was recorded in history as one of the most devastating natural disasters before Hurricane Katrina hit in 2003. It caused an estimated $20 billion in damage and 63 lives were lost. There was some warning for those that were on the outskirts of the quake, however, no one could have predicted or done anything to prevent this quake. The cause of the shock, which lasted for 10 to 20 seconds, was the Pacific and the North American plates grinding together. This boundary is called a strike-slip boundary. Other boundary types are converging, where the plates come together and form a subduction zone, or diverging, where the plates move apart and new magma is moved up into the crust to form new land. Southern California is home to numerous fault lines, the most famous and treacherous being the San Andreas Fault, which accounts for 800 miles of the plate boundary between the two plates. There are three other fast-moving faults that are similar to the San Andreas. They are called the San Jacinto, the Elsinore, and the Imperial. These four run parallel to each other from the northern to the southern part of California. From what you can see in the diagram, there are smaller faults that run in different directions throughout Southern California as well. Almost nowhere is safe from plate tectonics. Most of the earthquakes that occur are between the magnitudes 5 and 6. Very few are as destructive as the clip you saw in the beginning of the video. Earthquakes are almost always followed by aftershocks as well. The same way that earthquakes are more powerful the more shallow they are, they will also have more aftershocks that way.
Earthquakes have many natural effects. Surface scars, displacements, fissuring, sand blows, and hydrologic changes in rivers or deltas are just some. A perfect example of these natural effects would be the Fort Tejon earthquake. Ranking 7.9 on the Richter scale, the earthquake tore a surface scar of 300 kilometers and gave a displacement of 9 meters on the Carrizo Plain. It is also mainly responsible for the displacement along the transform boundary of the North American plate and the Pacific plate. Effects on humans can be detrimental as well. Some examples include demolishing or severely damaging buildings, harming or killing humans, and destroying bridges, making transportation impossible. One example of this is the Northridge earthquake that you saw earlier in the video. The earthquake ranked a 6.7 on the Richter scale and occurred just 20 kilometers from downtown Los Angeles. After rupturing gas and water pipes, it created fires and left 40,000 to 60,000 residents without water. Transportation was severely limited due to 6 bridges being demolished. 11 hospitals were also shut down and healthcare was inaccessible to many residents.
It is safe to say that earthquakes in California are very expensive. They have produced over $60 billion in losses in California since 1971. You are at risk for a loss if you own property in an earthquake-prone area such as Southern California, since it is the home of the San Andreas Fault. The Northridge earthquake, which occurred on January 17th of 1994, specifically cost an estimate of $20 billion in damages and $49 billion in economic loss. Understanding where future damage is likely to occur can help you take actions to reduce the impact of future earthquakes. Damage caused by an earthquake depends on the pattern of intense shaking, how many structures are in the area, the quality of construction, and many other factors. The Northridge earthquake had a magnitude of 6.7 on a previously unidentified thrust fault. Thrust faults occur in Los Angeles area because of the San Andreas Fault bends to the west, causing some thrust faulting instead of strike-slip faulting. Earthquake-resistant buildings can help reduce the impact. First, to build an earthquake-resistant building, the roof and floors need to be as light as possible. The main roof.
We should be within about 15 or 20 seconds. We got a 1-minute warning, about 35 or 40 seconds. There it goes. There it goes. Down. Blew those stanchions right out from under it, right down on the old road. This is between Cal Grove and where the 14 hits the 5, where the 5 goes right over the old road. They just blew it, blew out the stanchions, the columns under.